Hello everybody, welcome to the Kelly Daily Fitness Studio. Today we are going to be working on core strength, mobility, and balance work. So this is the type of workout that I typically do on my off days when I'm not lifting. You shouldn't be lifting weights especially if you're doing total body workouts, you shouldn't be lifting weights every day. It's a little too taxing on the body. So this is a workout that I do to work on making sure that my joints stay healthy, making sure that I'm still really well balanced. This is where I add in that core or that abdominal work. So it gives me something to do on my off days. I do like to work out, and since I can't lift every day, this is something I can do on my off days. Or if I've done a very tough workout and I need to get my body stretched out, if I'm too sore to do another workout, I do this type of mobility work, core work, and balance training. So I find it really important to do. If you're new to exercise, this is definitely going to be a little bit more of an advanced type of body weight training workout and core workout. But even if you're a beginner, this is a great place to start because it's going to get you moving in the right ways so that as you add weights to your routine, you're going to have the proper movement patterns. All right, so we are going to start with a little bit of a warm-up. So I pretty much always do the same ones, big arm circles, just kind of making sure that the blood is moving. It can be helpful to do a little bit of just a little bit of a regular warm-up. So you could walk for 5 to 10 minutes prior to this, ride a bike, clean your house a little bit, anything to kind of get the heart rate up. And then I'm going to take you through this dynamic workout. So as you're pulling your knees, or as you're bringing your knees up, if you can, pull them up into your chest a little bit. Hopefully you've got your water handy. We're not using weights today, as I said. You want to make sure that you have maybe a mat handy, unless you have a carpeted surface, because we are going to be doing some floor work today. All right, and then get wide. If lunging is a problem for you, you can go ahead and reach down between and then up. Each time you're going to go a little bit lower. This is something similar that we're actually going to be doing something similar to this during the workout. And then let's kind of go through that one more time. Big arm circles. Doesn't matter if you do them reverse or forward. We're going to do both directions. All right, other way. Then you're going to pull the knees up into the chest. You should feel a little bit of stretch through the back of your leg as you do that. And then you're going to kick back. Try to kick your heel all the way to the back of your leg. Take big, deep breaths. And then you're going to stay wide. Lean out onto that leg. Your trailing leg should stay straight. So you're getting a stretch through the inner thigh. All right, if you need a little bit of water, go ahead and grab water. If you're a little bit out of breath, that's okay. This is a warm-up. It is meant to get the heart rate up a little bit. Make sure that you have your mat handy. I'm not going to use it for the first few exercises because we are going to start standing. We are going to start with a low squat. So this is going to train your body to squat properly so that when you add weight, you're squatting the way that you should. So with a low squat, as long as your knees allow, you should be, your thigh, the back of your thigh should actually be on your calf. So this is a proper squat. all the way down. Now, some people, if you have knee problems, you may not be able to get there, at least not right now. So only go as low as is comfortable for you. So we're gonna go ahead and do 10 of those. We're gonna do a little bit of a pause. For those of you who can do the full squat, we're gonna pause here at the bottom. So go ahead and get into your squat position, and then we're gonna stand up from there and all the way back down. Lots of control through the whole movement. Breathing. And I can already feel my joints and my muscles loosening up as I do this. So again, if I've done a heavy workout a day or two prior, this is a really great workout to kind of get me stretched out. Hold at the bottom for about a second, stand all the way back up. As you're doing this, you'll find your most natural foot position. You'll see that I like to shift my feet around when I'm down here. And this is, again, working through the hip and the knee and the ankle mobility too. I try to keep my chin up, and I want to keep my knees out over my toes, so I'm not letting them come in. You can see I'm putting a little bit of pressure out with my elbows too, helping myself out just a little bit. What you'll find, especially if you're used to lifting, if you're a veteran lifter, you'll find that a mobility workout can sometimes make you more sore because you're actually getting down into the lower part of your range of motion, especially through movements like the squat, where sometimes when you got weight on your back, you might stop here instead of going all the way down. Make sure you're breathing. And if you don't get as many reps as I do, that's okay. I want you to really focus on feeling the stretch, feeling the movement here, and making sure that you've got your body in the right position. Let's do one more of those. All right, now we're gonna switch to a lunge. So for our lunge, we're gonna be stepping out into our lunge, and I want you to go down. If you need to put a mat crossways, I want you to go all the way down, if you are able to your knee. And then we're also going to do a rotation. So if you're stepping out first with your left leg, you're gonna rotate your torso to the left. So you can watch me do it, I'll demonstrate it. Step out, I set my knee down, rotate. I'm gonna come back up to standing, and then we'll do the other side. Knee down, and we're rotating. So here, you're gonna get the rotation through your spine. If you do have spine issues, you may or may not want to do this. Really depends on your body. Same thing with the knees. If lunges are not good for your knees, you may just want to do the rotation. If the rotation is hard for you, just do lunge. All right, so I am gonna alternate because that works on coordination and balance. So I'm gonna step out, all the way down, both knees are bending. I'm gonna push back through my heel. And you can see there's a balance aspect there. All right, down, push back through the heel. Rotate, push back through the heel. And again, take your time. Make sure you're controlling the movement, pushing back through that heel. You're gonna feel stretching in your hip flexors, probably a little bit in the back of your thigh. Try to make sure you're pushing through that front heel to come back up to a standing position. Let's do one more on each. All right, we're gonna do a different type of lunge. So you wanna get down into a crouched position, and I usually start with one foot out to the side, and then you're gonna go from side to side. Now again, if you have knee problems, it can be very difficult to get into this position. So if it's not a possibility for you, don't overstretch yourself. Don't overstress if you've got super, super tight muscles. Keep in mind, this is an advanced mobility, flexibility, and core training and balance workout. So we're gonna start with the foot out. My toe is gonna stay forward here. And I'm gonna try to keep my foot flat on the floor. You can see it's lifting a little bit, but I'm trying to keep it relatively flat. I'm gonna shift onto this knee and trying to do the same thing over here. So I'm just gonna go back and forth. And I am assisting with my hands. So this is really working on inner thigh flexibility. You shouldn't feel it too much if you're using your hands enough to help you out. But eventually you would get to the point where you're able to do this without touching the floor. Let's do one more each way. All right. And then we're gonna come back up to standing. We're gonna do another one that really challenges the balance. You may want to have a chair or something next to you. You will probably see me lose my balance as I do this because it is a challenge. We're gonna do a deadlift, but we're going to be extending our arms overhead at the same time that we're lifting our opposite leg. So it's gonna look like this. You're gonna start from your standing position. Make sure there's nothing behind you. You're gonna in your deadlift position, arms overhead. You're gonna swing that knee through and you're gonna go back to your deadlift position. We're gonna do 5 of these per side. At any time, you can always put your foot down. So don't fall over and just put your foot down if you lose your balance. All right, so starting position. Let's practice this. Here, you'll see that I'm very slow and deliberate with my movement here. And I'm trying to find a rhythm to my breathing. That was 4. Gonna do one more. And 5. If you did that and you stood on that one side for those 5 reps, you'll really feel that working all of those stabilizers in the standing leg. I can feel the burn going on here. All right, now we gotta switch sides. So stand straight. You're gonna wanna do this. Stand straight. Bring that knee through. You will also find that you probably chose your stronger side first, just like I did. We all struggle with balance and strength more on one side than on the other, which is why we do single-sided exercises. There's 4, one more. And 5. All right, shake that out a little bit. Take a little bit of a break. Grab your water. We're gonna go one more time through the standing circuit, and then we're going to be moving to our mats.
For over 2 decades, Zoom Internet has been a leader in broadband. And now, we've built the network of the future with 10G, 10 times faster than gig-speed internet, able to support the limitless demand of the future, providing advanced security for connected devices. Our fiber network is unmatched. Zoom from Armstrong. The Internet of Tomorrow is here today.
All right, we are going to go one more time through the standing circuit. So starting with those squats. So getting down into that squat position. Second time around, because my body's really warmed up and we already did this once, I find that it's much easier. My muscles are a lot less tight. There's 4. Just remember here, when you stand back up, keep your knees out, push through the heel. And breathe. Keep your chin up. There's 8, we got 2 more. All right, kind of shake the legs out a little bit. We're gonna go back to the lunge with the rotation. This will be 10 per side. So you're gonna go lunge, rotate. Remember, knees, both knees bend. Push back through that heel. Even here, you'll find that one leg is very likely much stronger and much more stable than the other. Almost there. All right, that makes the legs burn too. We're gonna shake that out a little bit, and then we're gonna go to our side lunges. So that crouching side lunge. So you're gonna crouch down. You're gonna get that one foot out to the side, and you're gonna shift back and forth. You may need to adjust where your other leg is. Again, we're gonna go back and forth. Want to do both sides 10 times. And I'm still trying to keep that foot flat. Doesn't always happen. If you feel comfortable, try not using the floor. Let's do one more each direction. All right. Get back up to standing. Once again, I usually take a few seconds to shake it out, but then we're gonna go to our deadlift exercise. So remember, we're standing straight. Arms are gonna go out like Superwoman or Superman, and then one leg is gonna go backwards. Find that balance. Whoop, and I lost it. Let's try again. Balance. Still struggling with the balance. Bring through. Anything balanced where you're trying to move is more challenging, but super, super important as we age. We're gonna do one more on this side. All right, shaking that leg out a little bit. Then we're gonna do the other side. Remember to stand straight to start. Bring that knee through if you can. There's 4, one more. And 5. All right, we are going to take another short break, and then we are going to be face down on our mats. All right, so the next part of our workout is going to focus more on core. We're still going to be working on a lot of range of motion, joint stability, some balance stuff. And you have to remember, this is definitely more of an advanced core type of workout, an advanced mobility workout. So keep that in mind. Only do what your body is able. All right, so we are going to start hands and knees. Now you may see me switch from the hard floor to the mat. That's because my mat tends to stretch. It's super cushy, but it stretches. And so some of these exercises are actually safer for me to do them on the hard floor. The first one I'm going to do on the hard floor, and it's going to be, you're going to start in a hands and knees position. You're going to get on your toes, and you're going to lift your knees. I don't know if you can see when I lift my knees about 1 inch or 2 above the floor. And I'm going to try to hover them there through the exercise. So you're going to shift back into what would you would consider maybe like a crouching animal position, like you're about ready to spring forward. And then you're going to come back to your original position. Knees should stay off the floor the entire time. And you're going to try to hover your knees about the same distance off the floor the entire time. So don't overthink it. All right, so go ahead and do tabletop, hands and knees position. Lift the knees about 1 inch or 2 off the floor. Shift yourself back, and then you're going to shift forward. Back, we're going to do 10 of these. And forward. And you will see my knees come up. So there is some normal back and forth or up and down to the knees. Breathe. If this is too hard, keep your knees on the floor. So you'll shift back and forth, just like you're watching me do, except you'll have your knees on the floor. Makes it a little bit easier. Draw the belly button up into the spine. Put the knees down on the floor. Give it a second, give it a little bit of a break here. We are going to be in the same position to start for the next one. So if the bear crawl is too hard for you, if getting your knees up off the floor and holding them is too hard, you're going to stay on your knees and you're going to alternate back and forth between a kickback. If you're strong enough, you're going to maintain your bear crawl position with your knees off the floor, and you're going to do kickback that way. We're going to do 5 per side, and we are switching back and forth. All right, ready? There's 1, switch, 2, here's set 3. We're doing 5 per side. Almost. 1 more each way. There's 5 and 5. Go ahead and put the knees down again. We are going to build on this movement by being in our bear crawl for the next one. This time you're going to push back into your spring position, and as you come forward, you're going to lift your hand and replace it with your foot. Now again, this requires quite a bit of mobility through your knee and your hip, and also through your low back. So experiment with it. Don't be surprised if right away you don't quite get it. So let's start in our bear crawl position. Knees off the floor, push back, spring forward. We're gonna go with the same side. We do 5 per side. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can go ahead and put your knees down so that we get reset for the other side. Lift the knees, back into that lunge position. Bring the foot forward to replace the hand. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Then you might want your mat for this one. If you're not already using it, we are going to do a Cobra Push-Up. So this stretches through the front of your spine, and it'll also give you a little bit of tricep and chest work. So we'll do 10 push-up, try to look up. If this causes shooting pains in your low back, don't do it. Cobras are not good for some people, good for others. Take your time here. I'm on number 6, but I'd rather have you worry more about focusing on controlling the movement than the count. And there was 10. All right, so we are going to take another quick break, and then we're going to run through that one more time before we move on.
Cameras roll.
All right. Okay, we are going to start from the top with our bear crawl exercises. I know, cue groans. The bear crawls are for sure difficult, but I always say that something that feels very difficult, or the one exercise that you hate to do, is probably the one that you need to do the most of. So we are going to go back to our bear crouch. So remember, if you can't do this with your knees hovered, or if you're really struggling with the strength aspect of it, you're just going to shift back on your knees and shift forward. You'll probably want a mat for that if you're on a hard floor. Otherwise, if you're able, hover your knees, push back, and then push forward. Make sure you're breathing. Remember to focus more on the movement and controlling it than the count. So for me, that was 8. I'm going to do 2 more. And there was 10. I'm going to set my knees down. I'm going to reset my position. And then we're gonna do those bear crawl kickbacks. Again, if the bear crawl is too difficult, you're just gonna stay hands and knees. All right. Remember to switch. That works on that coordination, which is so good for the brain. One more on each. And 5. Knees are down again. And then we're gonna do that bear crawl lunge. All right, push back into that lunge position. Replace the foot, or replace your hand with your foot. Then back, same side. 2, 3, 4, one more, 5. Okay, knees down, reset. Now we gotta do the other side. Pushing back, replace the hand. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, and then we're on the mat for the Cobra. So pushing up, try to look up. That was 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7, 8, there's 9, and 10. All right, we get another nice little break right here, and then we're gonna move on to a side plank variation, followed by a little bit of face up work.
Supercharge your internet. Only Zoom Extreme from Armstrong combines unlimited data with whole home Wi-Fi at the fastest speeds possible. Zoom Extreme from Armstrong.
All right, camera's rolling.
Okay, so we're gonna stay on our mats, and we're going to shift onto our side. So face your TV as you're doing this first side. You're going to use, you're gonna be on your elbow, and you're gonna be on your lower knee. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push the hip up, and we're gonna keep the hip up, and then we're going to do a leg lift, and at the same time, you're also going to reach your arm backward. Now I know that seems weird, but I'm trying to kill a whole bunch of birds with one stone. We're gonna work the outer hip, we're gonna work our core muscles in the side through the side plank, and then as you bring your hand backwards, you're gonna get a stretch through your chest and your shoulder muscle. So I like efficiency in my workouts. All right, so get yourself set. Push that hip off the floor, and then lift the arm. So it's almost like you're trying to create a star. Breathe. There's 3, 4, and 5. So now you're gonna shift to the other side. You can just roll over, or you can shift around like I did on my mat here. So lower knee bent, right on that elbow. Pop the hip up off the floor, keep it there. And then lift the leg as high as you can and push the arm backwards. There's 4 and 5. All right, we gotta give that side a rest. We're gonna go back to the other side. Very, very similar to what we just did, only now both knees are bent. You're still on your elbow, and you're gonna do what's called a clam shell. Looks a little bit weird, I know, but it works the muscles all through that actually rotate your hip outward. Most of those muscles are gonna be very weak unless you're actually actively working them. They're not muscles that you work very often. However, they are the muscles that can stabilize you, say if you slip on ice. So it's important to work these ones. All right, so open, I'm keeping my feet together. We're only gonna do 5 per side. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to shift around to the other side. So same thing. We'll kind of start in a little bit of a crouched position. Push that knee up. Your hip is going to get pushed forward a little bit. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, and then we are going to shift onto our backs for the rest of the workout. So we're going to start with something called a dead bug. This really is going to work on your core strength, but also on your coordination, and your brain is going to have to think a little bit here. So you're going to start in a tabletop position. Your shoulders are going to be off the floor, and I want you to feel like you're trying to press your low back into the floor. Now you're going to take the knee and the hand on the same side, and they're going to come apart. Bring them back together, and then the other side. So a lot of times people will get messed up on what's going back and forth. So that's where the brain training comes in. You have to actually think about it, which means you have to be present to your workout. If you tend to have a busy mind, this kind of exercise can help. Push that low back down. 2, lots of control. If you really feel this in the low back for some reason, don't extend the leg, keep the knee bent. Do 1 more per side. All right, and then we're gonna let it rest for a second here. All right, next we are doing leg windmills, and I'll give you a view, 2 different views of this, and there's a couple of different ways to do it. If you're a beginner to these, you might want to start with your heels on the floor. And basically what you're gonna do is be dropping your knees from side to side. So as you pick your knees back up, you're gonna get some work through your side abdominals, but really this also loosens the low back. If you do have back issues and this doesn't feel good, don't do it. So if you want a front view, same thing here. Keeping your feet on the floor, you're gonna go back and forth. If you wanna make it a little bit more challenging for your abdominal muscles, you're gonna lift your legs into a tabletop, or you can even do straight leg. I don't have quite enough room over here on my left to do straight leg, so I'm gonna do the modified version where my knees stay bent. It's also helpful to have your arms out to the side for a little bit more stability. Once again, with all of these stability type movements, You want to have lots of control. This is not about speed. I'm not just dropping my knees to the side. I'm lowering them. I'm forcing my body to work harder to stabilize. We're going to do one more practice each way. All right, heels are going to come down, and then we're going to do another exercise that targets the abdominals and specifically the lower abdominals. So you want to bring your shoulders up off the floor again, and this time you're going to pull a knee in, kind of like we did in the warm-up, and extend the other leg. So your upper body should remain completely still, completely stable as you do this, except for your hands grabbing your knees. If you pull those knees in, you'll get a little bit more of a stretch through your hamstring too. Find a rhythm to your breathing. I usually breathe in as I bring one knee in and out as I bring the other knee in. All right, one heel down at a time. We've got one more exercise. This is going to be what's called a hip bridge. Another really, really good exercise to work the back side of the legs. Most people are very weak through the back side of the body. So a lot of the exercises that I do here in my studio are focused on not working a lot of the front, but working more of the back. All right, so you want to get your heels pretty close to your rear end, and you're going to push through the heel. You shouldn't come up onto your toe at all. So you're going to push through the heel as high as you can. I do have my arms down for support. Drop the hips all the way back. We're going to do 15 of these. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These should actually feel good, especially after all the abdominal workout. This is almost like a rest. Remember to squeeze from behind. That's 10. We've got 5 more. One more. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a rest. Make sure you've got some water. We're going to run through that one more time, and then we will be done with our mobility workout for the day. All right, we got one more time through our face up in our core mobility and balance training workout. And I don't know about you, but I'm about tired out. So I often find this type of work where you really have to think and you go slow and it challenges your balance and your coordination. I actually find these to be tougher sometimes than my normal weight training workouts. All right, so we're gonna start with our dead bug exercise. So remember, you're in your tabletop position with your legs, your shoulders are off the floor, same side. Extend, and then we're gonna go to the other side. Remember, if your low back is hurting or it seems like it's sore, don't bend or don't straighten the leg. Keep the knee bent. This also works those lower abdominals, which can be very hard to target. If your neck starts to get tired, go ahead and lay your head down, but then I want you to lift your shoulders and your head again when you're able to. Let's do one more on each. And then one heel down at a time. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a rest here. You may notice that my counts today were all over the place. Sometimes I was doing 10 of something, sometimes it might have been only 8. And the reason behind that is, again, today I'm less focused on the count of things and I'm concentrating a lot on the movement and making sure that I'm doing things very slowly and precisely. So you'll notice that when you do a workout like this, you may not keep count as well as you normally would because there's so much focus on the movement itself. All right, the windmills with your legs. So you remember you can keep your heels on the floor if that's more comfortable. Arms are out to the side. I'm gonna do the modified version. Drop the knees to the side, back to center, and then slowly to the other side. Remember, don't just allow your knees to drop. Think about the movement. Control the movement. My back just cracked. I do sometimes call this one the self-chiropractic adjustment because it can sometimes have that effect. And for a lot of people, this loosens up the low back and the sacrum. Can be a very helpful exercise if you struggle with low back issues. And then again, for some people, it's not great if you have low back issues. So you gotta listen to what your body tells you. All right, heels are gonna come back down one at a time. And then we're gonna do that knee pull exercise. So we're gonna start here, pull one knee in, shoulders are off the floor. Stabilize your upper body. You shouldn't be moving around a lot up here. The only thing that's moving here is the legs. Go ahead and do one more each way. Keep that focus. All right, one heel down at a time. Heels are gonna come close to your rear end. Use your hands for support. Push up through that heel. We're doing 15 of these. And you may need to adjust your heel position. If something doesn't feel quite right, you'll see me moving my heels around here and there just to find the right position. Keep breathing. We've got 5 more by my count. This one's a little easier to count. There's a little less involved. Still really focused though. 1 more. Squeeze. All right, and dropping down. Go ahead and pull your knees into your chest before you come to a seated position. So you can kind of roll back and forth a little bit. We're giving the low back a little bit of massage, stretching it out. Be aware that as you come back up to sitting and then to standing eventually, because we've been on our back for a little bit, you could be a little bit dizzy standing up. So I like to do this a little bit slowly, and I usually add in a couple of stretches while the blood is kind of getting itself right in my body again. So like I just felt a little bit of dizziness because all of the blood rushed out of my head. Go ahead and switch. So again, this type of mobility and balance training and core work, this is something that if you don't love to exercise, this workout could be your workout for the week, or you could do this a couple times a week. If you are an exercise enthusiast like I am, and you look for something to do on your days where you're not weight training or on your off days, these types of mobility workouts can be really great because they work your balance, your joint range of motion, so you're going to be a better overall athlete. We're going to come to center here. So just make sure as you're doing this, you're breathing. Kind of bringing our nervous system back down into the rest phase. And then make sure you're slow about getting up. Might want to come to your knees first, and then you can come all the way up to a standing position. Might want to have wall just in case. But otherwise, that is mobility, core work, balance training, joint range of motion work. So again, this is a great workout to do in between your strength training workouts, or if you're brand new to exercise, you can work on your mobility, on your balance, on your core strength before you start adding weights. So I hope that you like this workout, and I will see you again soon.